Right. Good evening, fellow Zambians, wherever you are catching us from. We've called for this major press briefing with my colleagues, members of Central Committee from Patriotic Front, Chair Legal, Honorable Munduvile, Chair Elections, Member of Parliament Fukirui, President of the New Congress Party, and also a member of Council, to which you also belong, and our colleagues that are here. This emergency press briefing has been called to address a number of very critical issues that are fundamental, and we will determine whether the elections we're going to have or the voting that will take place tomorrow will result in having the will of the people or voters of Kaomba expressed at the end of the whole process. I will address myself to one issue, and then I'll call upon Chair Legal to address himself to another, and the Honorable Munduvile is also in a position also to address himself to another issue. The first issue is the scandal that has been announced just a few minutes ago by ECZ. A scandalous development meant to try and find a backdoor means to rig the elections and sabotage the will of the people of Kaomba in the voting that will take place tomorrow. Fellow Zambians, it has never happened in the history of this country that in a by-election, ECZ would wait up to just about a few minutes ago, which is almost about 19 hours, to announce that they have changed the goalposts, in the sense that we are having a by-election which ordinarily, under normal circumstances and lawfully so, we are expected to use the 2021 voters' roll, because any registration of voters after the election of 2021, all those who register are expected to be verified by all stakeholders before they can then be allowed to vote in any election. And that is usually done prior to the general election. We know that they have been undertaking an intensified voter registration in neighboring districts of Mcherenge, Mansabombwe, and even in Chieng, to try and beef up numbers they assume would be able to aid them win the election slated for tomorrow. And to that effect, they have just ambushed all stakeholders by announcing that they are going to use the new voters' roll, which includes voters who have been registered up to 2022. First of all, that is illegal, because you can only introduce a new voters' roll that has been verified. The voters on the so-called voters' roll that includes those who have registered from 2021 to 2022 as political parties, we have not verified. We don't know where those voters are coming from, whether or not they are Zambians or they have been put on that voters' roll from other jurisdictions other than Zambia, still whether or not they are from Kaomba. So we want to categorically state that that scandalous pronouncement by ECZ is illegal, and we reject the usage of that voters' roll. What is lawful to be done is to use the 2021 voters' roll. Even when we went to ECZ to buy voters' registers, they sold us voters registers for voters who were registered before the 2021 general elections. We don't even have, they do not even give us access to those voters, the new voters roll. So to that effect, that is Hakainde's voters roll that he has cooked up from wherever and want to use it to rig the election in Kawamba that is slated for tomorrow when people are preparing to go and vote. They want to have ghosts come to vote and then suggest that that reflects the will of the people of Kawamba. We are saying no. And we want to warn those officers that are allowing themselves to be manipulated. The council secretary, Chipenzi, who's here, who we know is affiliated to UPND, and all those who are trying to use these shenanigans to sabotage the will of the people of Kawamba in the elections or the votes that take place tomorrow, the 20th of December 2024. We are saying no. Before we conclude, I'll call Chairman Legal. We also are beginning to receive people receiving individual threats, and the police beginning to cooperate with the UPND to try and, undermine the works that we have already done and some of the things that we are to do tomorrow. One of them is the fact that all of a sudden, when NGOs were registered monitors, the system collapsed until towards 17 hours, and they asked everybody to go outside, and next thing they're announcing they have stopped registering monitors from NGOs and other stakeholders, all to make sure that the eyes that are watching the activities of tomorrow are minimized. Chairman Nico.
Thank you very much, Secretary General. My role is to speak to some issues concerning legality or absence of legality in what is going on during the campaign period. As the public may be aware, there are few instances that have taken place from which we have drawn conclusion as a legal team that the UPND are intent to disrupt this election, or at least to make it not to be free and fair. As you may be aware, yesterday there were some instances that took place late in the evening when information was sifted through to our campaign team that the UPND were involved in some activities that bordered on rigging this election. Armed with that information, our two teams went to the places where these allegations were taking place. The first allegation was that they were retrieving voters' registers, voters' cards rather, and NRCs from individuals in exchange for some cash. Honorable Mpiri, went with some senior members of the party to go and just inquire about what was going on. Because people were guilty of some wrongdoing, they wanted to try and resist Mpiri. And in the exchange that took place, there were some scuffles, and Mpiri retracted. But we had established even at that time that whatever was going on where the UPND's command center was amounted to a potential voter rigging. We would have wanted the ECZ and even the police to investigate that criminality. But of course we knew that because of, like SGR said, there seems to be a suggested collaboration between the police and the UPND and the ECZ. Nothing happened. The second information that became available to our campaign team was that some youths have been imported into Kawamba with all manner of weaponry, and they were lodged at some location somewhere. In fact, this information was relayed to Chief Mukanta and also relayed to our team. We thought we should act as responsible, electioneering agents, and our colleagues went to speak to Chief Mukanta. At the request of Chief Mukanta, they went to attempt to inspect, where these weapons were being hidden. And when they went there in the engagement that to followed, they were not even able to access the room in which allegedly these weapons were hidden. But because they are cooperative, because the owner of the guest house, I think, decided not to allow them to go and inspect, they retracted from there. Unfortunately, the UPND decided to create an opportunity for them now to run what was happening as criminality on the part of the Patriotic Front. And they allegedly went to the police and reported the matters, alleging that a 20,000 character was stolen from each of these two different locations, and the laptop elsewhere was stolen and the badge camera was stolen. And they named our senior members of the party, our former SG, Honorable Mpiri, our lawyer, Mr. Celestine, who is leading a team of lawyers into Kawamba, because we had actually insisted that this time around we are going to have legal representation on the ground. So whatever is happening which we think is illegal, we'll be armed with lawyers there's a group of, there's a team of 3 lawyers who have come with us, and Dean, being one of the senior members of the Rwapula Province members of Parliament, decided to go and carry out that investigation. So these were reported to the police. In those circumstances, the police were given instruction, were informed from above, to arrest these 3 individuals, including the president of the National Congress Party, which is a collaborating party in the Council Alliance, and charge them with aggravated robbery. In circumstances where no weapon was used, in circumstances where no violence was involved, and they made those threats. Our members of the party, the same members of the party, were bold enough to say, we're going to face the police. Let's explain to them what transpired. Okay, so we know that there's this threat to try and arrest our senior members, and they thought they were going to deflect attention from the people of Kawamba to pay attention mainly to an allegation of armed robbery in circumstances where no offense was actually committed. The other 2 instances were the ones who just spent the last 5 hours with Honorable Mundibile, and Honorable Kampampi Kabaso, and Honorable Fuwe from Chilubi. Honorable Fuwe and Kampampi were subject to threats. They were threatened by a very senior member of the UPND who calls himself the Deputy National Youth Chairperson, Chikota, who were informed is a mayor, from Wednesday. He made a phone call to the 2 individuals and threatened them with death. He actually issued death threats on the phone. He called them and said to them, we are informed that you are the ones who are being used by Edgar Chagwalungu to start giving money to the people in Kawamba. When on the ground, everybody in Kawamba is very aware that the people who have been distributing money to them in exchange for votes are UPND. Yeah. The Patriotic Front does not even have money to give to anybody. We are speaking to the people, giving them the message of hope, and why we need to ensure that we return the seat as Patriotic Front through the alliance partner, National Congress Party. We haven't distributed any money to anybody. This individual was bold enough to call Honorable Kampampi and Honorable Fuwe, not once, about 3 times, and issue threats to these senior members of the party, sitting members of Parliament, threatening to kill them. And he actually said you should take this threat as a very serious threat. That clip has gone viral on the social media and already begin to receive reactions. We decided that this is a very serious offense of threatening violence, and we went to the police at Kawamba Central Police. Honorable Fuwe has filed a report against this individual, and Honorable Kampampi has filed a report against this individual. We are expectant that the police is going to do nothing but ensure that the law is followed to the letter and spirit. That this individual who felt that he is so privileged because he belongs to a political party which is in power, that he can begin to threaten elected members of Parliament, even when he himself is an elected mayor in a district. We expect the police to be exemplary. This government prides itself with following the rule of law. When a threat of such a nature is issued against individuals who are defenseless, we are not armed. Mr. Fuwe was somewhere in the wards trying to canvass for votes. He had to retract from there because he was under threat. Mr. Kampampi was manning our command center. He also had to retract because he didn't know at what time he was going to be attacked. And in the process, we lost about 5 hours of the last leg of our campaign, trying to move back and forth between the police station and the command center. And while we were doing that, our friends were driving vehicles around, campaigning and making all that noise. So ideally, they intended also to just deflect our campaign. But we are expectant, and we insisted to the police that they should be expeditious. They should swiftly act to bring this person, this culprit to book. Everybody knows who Mr. Chikota is. There are some criminalities that took place before, for which up to now he has not been prosecuted. When somebody commits a crime and you don't prosecute them, you embolden them to think that they are more privileged and they can commit further crimes. This is a very, very serious crime. And we're expecting that this government that prides itself with compliance with the rule of law is going to make sure that this Mr. Chikota is arrested within the next 24 hours. And the investigations are carried out, is presented before the court of law. Evidence is clearly there. We have got recordings of what transpired. What you've seen on social media is part of the recordings that we have, and we're expecting that if there's going to be objectivity in this case, this is a case that is going to result in a conviction of this individual for threatening violence against elected members of Parliament. But we have the hope that this time the police are not going to cower away. If anybody in government is going to try and stop them from carrying out their constitutional mandate, they should just be forthright and decisive to ensure that Mr. Chikota is used as an example that even if you belong to a political party which is in government, you have no right to threaten your colleagues in the campaign trail and disrupt their campaign because you want to win. So among other ways in which they would like to rig these elections, they just want to deflect attention from what we are doing. But we are resolved because we have spoken to the people on the ground. Kawamba has already decided his vote. And our expectation is that by extension, the ECZ is going to act objective. We don't expect them to do what they have informed us are going to do. We're introducing a register which is not verified. You know, just try and twist this in favor of one of the contenders in the elections. We expect this to comply strictly with the law and with the constitution. This is why people are raising issues about the people who are managing the ECZ. Honestly speaking, if there was any such a change, we've been having meetings with the ECZ in the last 1 week. Why wasn't it announced at that time? So they would have taken challenges, even at law, if we had to do it. Why did they wait for the campaign period to end? Because practically, I mean, legally, the campaign period ends at 18 hours. Nothing should happen between 18 hours and the time we go to the polling station tomorrow. Nothing at all. We were given, like SG has said, the register that was utilized in 2021. The new entrants in the register were not verified. To try and use them in this election, we invalidate the whole election. So we expect that the ECZ is going to come back to us and reassure us that the register which will be used is the one that is going to verify voters in the register. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And before I call upon our Bamundu, President Reverend Peterson, just a few remarks from me.
Thank you very much. And to the people of Zambia and the people of Kawambwa, Zambia's democracy is on a test. Zambia's democracy is at a risk of either going down or being built up. Nde miromba mwewe na Kawambu kwa ticharo chonse chilolo shapalimi. Abena Kawambu abare ngumfwa mairo mukabike voti yenu pali Dansan Mwansa ule minina pa NCP ticket under the Tonse alliance with our anchor political party, the Patriotic Front. The Patriotic Front is the anchor party of the Tonse alliance. And once some members of Tonse, once some members of PF, just know that your vote is on the NCP. So that uyumuntu ule for kuleta dictatorship, uyumuntu ule for panga police state. Tumulango kwa 2026 kuyabele. I'm calling upon the Zambian people that this is the time for us to defend democracy. This is the time for us to stand up and righteously defend our democracy. I think.
Thank you very much. And with that appeal, we will address the voice to what is
Thank you, SG. President Peter Chanda and SG, together with members of the Central Committee. I'll start by saying that I'm very happy that as an alliance, we decided to participate in this by-election. Had we not participated in this by-election, we would not have known how UPND has been winning all these by-elections from 2021. I wish to commend members of the Tonse Alliance. I think we agreed on one thing, and we resolved that we're going to come in very strong, and we've been on the lookout. What we have discovered should be a source of concern to every Zambian. The stories of rigging, and marked ballots, and all these stories that surround malpractices are as true as you are reading them on social media. Now, as a result of our resilience, as a result of our members staying alert, UPND and ECZ have now decided that their only way out is to introduce a new register. The people of Kawambo are resolved. The message is out there on the street. The people of Kawambo have said we will cast a protest vote to show the UPND government that we do not agree with the incarceration of Nixon Chilangwa and Ronald Kaumachitotela, Chifumbe Kalumba, as they believe these people are merely being persecuted. As my colleagues have said, what comes into question before us, for how long should we sit back and continue watching what ECZ is doing? Are we sure that we would like to maintain, as a people and as a country, the current officials, commissioners at ECZ. Look at how many wrong things have happened just in the past 2 weeks in this election. And ECZ is there. Everything points to ECZ. I want to join my colleagues that spoke earlier to call upon His Excellency the President, President Hakainde Hichilema, to immediately dissolve ECZ. I want to state it very clearly that as Tonse Alliance, we will not accept going forward the current commissioners and officials at ECZ. They have displayed total incompetence, bias, impartiality, lack of accountability, lack of transparency, as it were. Electoral malpractice is all that we're witnessing today. I was shocked, SG, when we just walked in and said, there's a proposal now that they will use a new register. This is because we've got our youths out there. They're very vigilant. They're in every polling station. They are marking these polling stations to make sure that there is no chance for them to sneak in those marked ballots. So the attempt to change the register is just confirmation. That is just confirmation that indeed our suspicions that they wanted to steal this particular election are confirmed. So I think that our friends in the media, members of Central Committee and members of Tonse Alliance, you deserve commendation for the work that you have done in the past 1 week. You could see on the street, UPND is in total panic. They have never experienced this before. They've just been stealing these by-elections. They've just been walking in and stuffing ballot boxes and walking away with the victory. President Hakainde Hichilema, Zambia is a constitutional democracy. There is something that you have to come to terms with. Zambians have a right to choose a leader. They've got a right to choose a leader through the ballot. President Hakainde Hichilema, if, as you were saying at the Secretariat yesterday, you were threatening Zambians, you were showing signs of anxiety that you will not be moved out in 2026. There is only one way. Nobody is a pushover. There is no political party leader who is a pushover, because leaders ascend to leadership with the support of their members. Now, when the members lose confidence, every political party leader, including President Hakainde Hichilema, can be pushed over. In this case, if the people of Zambia they look at your record, President Hakainde Hichilema, and they find that your record is poor, be assured that in 2026 you're going. The signs that you're showing so far, as regards the cost of living, the non-observance of the rule of law, it's very clear that your record by the end of next year, and indeed in 2026, will show that you have to go. So there is no amount of machination. There is no amount of machination or threat that will stop the Zambian people from voting you out. Yes. So it's a timely warning that, sir, if at all you want to stay on in office, improve the lives of the Zambian people, respect our constitutional democracy, begin to observe the rule of law, remove the ECZ, and bring in people that are going to be impartial. It's been a settled practice in our country. The people that have run ECZ previously have been people who are former High Court judges, Supreme Court judges, that have practiced the high levels of professionalism. What we are seeing under the current ECZ leaves much to be desired. We love our Zambia, and ECZ, we will not allow you. We will not allow you to destroy our Zambia. Commissioners at ECZ and all the staff there, we express our vote of no confidence, and that the last election that you should handle is a Kauma by-election. Zambians should demand the immediate removal of all the commissioners at ECZ, because we can't continue like this. We want to continue with our peace as a country. We're a peace-loving country, and ECZ should not come in and cause confusion in our country. SG, I just thought I could express those thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And as we conclude, colleagues, I can only say on behalf of the President, His Excellency, the 6th Republican President and Chairman for Tonse Alliance, thank you very much to all of you, the leaders that are here, members of Central Committee, members of the Tonse Alliance, presidents that are here, members of Parliament, party officials at all levels. Yeah, President Chanda, Peter Chanda. No, because you seem to have been expressing some revolutionary arrangement. But as I conclude, irregularities in UPND are beginning to become part of the norm. Even this by-election we are holding it because this is a decided to disregard a court order. There is a stay that stayed this election, just like the election of the council chairperson. That's how come we were shocked even when the Constitutional Court was saying the 2021 elections were held because of the court order, as though they respect court orders. And there is a court order, but they have gone against that court order. Now they want to introduce a new voter register against the law. But with all the work that has been done so far, we are confident that with all the shenanigans, including the voter register, because even the new people they want to import from wherever, they are also buying mini meal at the highest price. So all the efforts the UPND are making, we're confident that they will not only work against them. And with that said, let's continue to work. We have done good, and I think we still have some work tonight and work tomorrow to prevent UPND from stealing this vote, and we deliver victory on behalf of the Zambians who are expectant. Thank you very much and good night.